Welcome in the final member of today's panel, right down there, Bob Hodge. Bob, thanks for being
here. Positivity is I like to call it. So.
There we go. The cure is here. Bad days happen in baseball, as we discussed. You know, you're not going to run through the regional and the super regional undefeated. So it's important to remember that. If the Vols take care of business today, let's get on the positive. Although I thought I was going to be trying to lift people up with this intro. Don't need to. But if the Vols get through today, make it to Omaha, win the whole darn thing. And as the number one seed, they're still the favorite to do it. If they win the whole thing, where does it rank among Tennessee national championships? Let's put this up here and show you. Okay, you've got you would think you've had more. That's good, but I mean, men's cross country, men's indoor track and field, men's outdoor track and field 3 times, men's swimming and diving, men's football twice, of course, opposed to women's football, but I'm putting men's and women's there. 51 and 98. Women's basketball 8. Women's indoor track and field, that was your last one. They've won 2, and your last national title here was 15 years ago in 2009, and then women's outdoor track and field 1981. Tyler, Tennessee wins the national championship in baseball. Where does it rank?
It's a really good question, especially when you take a look at the women's national championships. I don't know if we can put a Tennessee baseball natty this year ahead of any of the undefeated women's basketball seasons. Candace Parker years, the Shamika Holtzclaw years. Football, obviously, 98 is number one. You can't move that off the top of the mountain. I would say you'd be able to put it in there 4th or 5th between some of those women national championships. And I think that what you would have to go through to be able to accomplish that this year with this offense, being able to kind of right the wrongs, so many consecutive or 3 out of the last 4 years being able to get to the World Series. I think the reason why you're going to be able to squeeze it in there is because of who they're going to play. There's a potential field this year. Florida State. They're no pushover. North Carolina, again. Oregon State, Kentucky, who, remember, Christian Moore had to hit 3 bombs that Sunday game just to get out of Lexington. It's going to be a well-fought field to win a national championship. So depending on how you break down or what particular rosters from the national championship seasons from the Pat Summitt years that you like, it's in there. Doesn't touch football, but it's a nice little peanut butter jelly sandwich with the women's basketball titles.
I think the fact that it would be first also moves it up. So
I think that elevates it a little bit. And I also think it would be a women's basketball national championship now, I think, and by no means am I insulting anybody. The game has changed. It is so much more competitive. It has so many more eyeballs on it now.
That's the key, yeah.
I think that the baseball national championship would probably come in somewhere behind 98, I think behind 51 too, because, I mean, facing football national championships. I think I could put it no worse than 4th behind the undefeated Pat Summitt. And I might even move it ahead because the women's game has changed. When Pat Summitt was great, there were 4 teams that virtually were going to...
Yeah, it's more competitive now.
Yeah,
it is more competitive.
It's so much more competitive. It is so different. I think a women's championship now means something, and that is not to take anything away from anybody.
When she was winning some of hers, especially early, you had the semifinals and the finals on TV. You couldn't have watched all 64 games or 67 games the way you can now. So that's there are more eyes on it.
And hey, if you're going to talk about how much more competitive something is, look how competitive baseball is, Vince. I mean, to me, that is the most competitive college sport out there. Is college baseball, and one reason is Vanderbilt's been pretty good.
Okay, I'll go. It's really good in this league. I will say, though, it's mainly still a regional. It's a warm weather sport. You don't have a ton of Big Ten. You look at the top 16 seeds. It's ACC and SEC, baby. I mean, it's regional in that sense. But go ahead.
But still, I mean, that's what. But I still, you have to give the respect, I think, to Pat Summitt and what she's done. At first, I thought you could maybe have this if they were to pull this off now, which I don't think they will now, and win the national championship in baseball. I might even rank it number 2nd. But I can see having it in the top 4.
So you don't think they will win the title now?
No.
Okay,
no,
so there goes your positivity. Okay, you're all on board. I like that.
Bob works.
I'm positive about the sub-regional. I'm not positive about the national championship.
All right, so it's the biggest win. All right, let's go to part of the Vol baseball broadcast team. So it would be the number 1 national championship in school history, right? Now, where does it rank?
Obviously football is at the top of that list, and then I do think I agree with Tyler. It's somewhere in that women's basketball group because Pat Summitt.
Right.
I don't think as popular as baseball has become, as much of a rock star as Tony Vitello is, you still have a lot of people that, and rightfully so, hold Pat Summitt on just a different level from anybody else. And so I
Yes.
don't think they would allow themselves to put them on that list. So I think, and then also women's basketball for Tennessee is not as popular because they haven't had the success post Pat Summitt. And Tennessee baseball is more popular. So do you look at the history or do you look at the here and now?
And that's where the trouble comes in.
If you go back to Rod Delmonico's first trip to Omaha, when everybody was excited, Todd Helton, Bubba Trammell, Ari Dickey, everybody was excited because it was first. But that was also in the middle of the Pat Summitt run there in the mid '90s, and Lady Falls basketball was here compared to baseball. Even though people got really high on it there for that run, it was a Lady Vols town. To me, I would have to put it below, not all of those women's basketball titles, but a lot of them. And that's no knock on baseball. And here's the other thing I want to say. That doesn't mean those athletes in cross country and swimming and everything that won national titles didn't work either or weren't worth anything. We're just talking about in terms of national
Eyeballs and
eyeballs.
interest.
Right.
Yeah, eyeballs and interest.
And,
Right.
and the great thing about Tennessee is the individuals in a lot of those sports, whether it was the Todd Heltons or anyone else, Willie Galt, and just so many of the individuals that in a lot of those sports, I think they're held in high regard, even if maybe football trumps everything else in the grand.
Hey, but don't sell that 1951 Tennessee football team short. That was a good team. I watched them play.
I had to get in a nice word about track and field. My buddy Gary Lowe would send me a text angry. All right, when we come back, let's put this thing to a vote. We got an interesting question that we've talked about on radio before, and we've been on with Tyler and Will. We've changed the question just a tad, make it a little bit more difficult for you, but we're going to give you Sophie's Choice next. You could only win something in baseball, something in basketball, something in football. We'll tell you what in the next round. You have to do one. You can't take the others. We're going to put it to a vote and let you play along with us, and we're going to debate that next. Come on back, and I'll tell you what we're debating.